welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, we're talking about WWE Bad Blood. The final boss has returned, setting up, no doubt, the next probably, 6-8 months of stories heading into WrestleMania.
6 months, yeah, 6 months.
Yeah, man. Of course, it was punctuated. The main event was Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes teaming up against Bad Bloodline. The new Mega Powers were victorious over the Bad Bloodline. A little show of respect between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes ended the show. And then The Rock. Well,
you're leaving out an important detail. Jim Uso returned.
Jimmy Uso came back
to help Cody and Roman get the win. Yeah, a nice embrace between Jim Uso, and Roman. After Roman secures the win by pinning Solo Sikoa for new Mega Powers.
Yep.
But yes, The Rock comes out after all that. Music hits. He walks out the stage. Music fades out. He gives people's eyebrow. He's there holding his people's title.
Yeah.
And then he just counts 1, 2, 3, and does what I don't know what you call this, but
it's like a mob thing.
Yeah, like
the Iceman or something.
The throat or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, he mimics slitting a throat.
So, but the question is, what does it mean? There's 3 of them in the ring. You had Cody, Roman, Jimmy. Likewise with, no, you got 4 members of Bad Bloodline. So maybe the idea is 3 of you going down against Bad Bloodline in War Games, maybe. Maybe that's the point.
Well, the last time we saw him, it was with Cody Rhodes. He says, I'm going to come back for you. And, of course, night 1 of WrestleMania, didn't Rock pin Cody?
You did. Tag match,
1,
yeah.
2, 3. And maybe the idea is Cody Rhodes, I'm going to go after you. I already pinned you once. It's ambiguous, though. We're not entirely sure because he didn't have a microphone with him. He didn't say anything.
The normally verbose Dwayne Johnson said nary a word.
Guy likes to talk, and he said nothing. So load up the comments with what you think The Rock meant with his 1, 2, and then the 3. He did maybe the hand sign, because he did the index finger, the middle finger, and then he blasted us with the middle through the small fingers.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that. And then he's got, he's a what we do in the shadows guy,
Maybe. Maybe.
That could be. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, I think a lot of people would probably agree with this sentiment. It'll be interesting once we get on social media to see if the outside world differed with the friendos here. But I think the general sentiment, at least my thought is, Hell in a Cell probably. I get The Rock is there, and I know that's what you end with. I get that. The match that felt most like the main event, the one that really got everybody into it, it was the culmination of an epic feud between these two guys. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre absolutely brought back Hell in a Cell, basically took it out of the ground where it's been buried and brought relevance to it again, because that match was absolutely phenomenal. It was brutal. It was physical. They bled just a
all
ton.
over the place. Yeah.
A lot of just awesome, great, brutal spots. They didn't resort to climbing up the cage. None of that nonsense. None of the stuntman stuff. This was like, hey, there's a table laying top of the table laying down. And so all the little steel braces and stuff were up. And let me powerbomb a guy on that.
Well, even before that, where Drew rips off one of the legs of the table.
Yeah.
And then there's like a chunk of metal sticking out from the leg of the table that CM Punk picks up the table leg and drives it towards Drew. And that hunk of metal was what? A matter of a couple inches away from impaling Drew in the head.
Right, yeah.
They both bled a ton. It went, I don't know, 30 plus minutes at least.
Mm-hmm.
It was, without a doubt, the best match on the card.
Absolutely,
it wasn't even close in that regard. Yeah, I understand the argument. Rock's coming back. He saved that for the end of the show. I get it. But in light of how good the opening Hell in a Cell match was, and given how little The Rock actually gave us as viewers,
yeah,
it kind of felt like, all right, well, maybe the better match with the story that's been going on. I know The Rock's been in the Bloodline story for a while. I know that. Story that's been on full-time TV for a while. And their blow-off match, you would assume, perhaps that should get the main event spot because it doesn't seem like, at least in the near future, CM Punk's going after Gunther because Triple H announced during the show that at Crown Jewel they're going to crown for the first time. It made it seem like it's going to be an annual thing. They're going to pit the world champion, men's world champions, and women's world champions against each other at Crown Jewel, and the winner gets the Crown Jewel Championship. They showed off one of the belts, and it's enormous.
It's also truly gaudy. It's horrific,
Yes.
this thing. It's just, it's funny because did you notice? I'll have to go back and look at this. Number one, Triple H didn't exactly look too thrilled to be doing this. Maybe I'm just reading into it, but you can tell sometimes when this dude's excited and when he's not necessarily.
He seemed excited back in Atlanta because he told a story about how he lived not too far from the venue when he was wrestling for WCW.
Right, yeah.
Mentioned that. He was down to reminisce.
I was terrorizing the wrestling scene in 1994,
Yeah. We said WCW, yeah.
There was almost, you're right, yeah, he was at center stage. There was almost a hint of like embarrassment. Maybe I'm reading to it, but if you go back and you watch when he says something like, "There's a lot of rubies and jewels in this thing," or something like that, it's he's a little bit more.
So what I noticed
respectful
is
of it
before he even started talking, heavy sigh from Triple H.
That's not a good indication.
And I'm like, he's not usually nervous. That doesn't seem like nerves.
The little, because he knows it's a turd of a announcement. Because when he says it, he says a lot of rubies and jewels, and he sort of has like a half smile on his face. It's almost like he's self-conscious about this ugly ass title that's next to him. I don't know. Again, maybe I'm just reading into it. But
Yeah,
in my headcanon is this: he pitched the first women's mid-card title for Saudi Arabia, and they came back out at him with, "How about this? Figure out a way to book your two top champions against each other in both the men's and the women's." So basically, they're still in the Survivor Series brand warfare from a couple of years ago. A definitive clean winner. Well, definitive winner, he said.
Yeah, definitive winner.
A definitive winner. And they're gonna win this thing, which you'll never see for probably another year when they do it, if they do it again.
Yeah, I mean, he made it sound like in the announcement it was going to be an annual thing. Let's see how the first one goes, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like he announced it, explained it. It was, I won't say confusing. It just didn't. It wasn't hitting with the crowd.
No.
As soon as he said "Crown Jewel," there was kind of a collective groan in the audience.
Yeah.
And he unveiled the belt, and it's gaudy and enormous, and said what it was going to entail, and everybody's like, "All right." So it's like the greatest Royal Rumble again.
And that's exactly what it is. The big green greatest Royal Rumble belt that Braun won and never showed off again, and they never did another one again.
Nope.
And then after that, they did this really sort of cringy, like Gunther Goldberg segment, which started out pretty funny because Gunther's pretty funny when he's talking shit. And then Goldberg gets up like he's going to do something, and then Sami Zayn attacks. And it just sort of, it was so on the precipice of being a Vince McMahon book segment.
Yes.
It was just lacking like Goldberg burying a top star. That's sort of the only thing that was missing from it.
Yeah.
But so there was that.
But sorry, getting back to that. So Gunther's booked for Crown Jewel. So no Punk match there. Maybe they're going to do Goldberg versus Gunther.
God, I hope not.
I hope not. But given what happened tonight, I don't think you can dispel that notion entirely. I don't think there's a high chance it's going to happen. But I know Goldberg's been saying, I want a retirement match.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going to have him lose to Gunther in his retirement match. I don't know. But that could be Survivor Series. But then you're at the Rumble, and then they're going to start setting up Punk Seth, probably.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I don't know. I honestly, here's the thing, the crazy thing and the really nice thing about Raw right now is that, you know what I mean? Like, I have no idea. I get the feeling that, Punk he's the guy. Did you notice, this was on social media, I guess like one of the Netflix graphics for when Raw comes to town is like Punk is front and center.
Yeah.
There's everybody else behind him. I have no idea what the landscape of Raw is going to look like by WrestleMania. who's going to be champion. You know, I mean, the good money'd probably be on Gunther. Gunther versus Punk could be WrestleMania right there.
Could be.
I mean, they had the opportunity, and obviously Punk's injury took us out of Rollins versus Punk at WrestleMania this past year. He's got his story now, which is main eventing WrestleMania. And so that's obviously something they probably are strongly considering, is Punk and the world title in some way, shape, or form. They need to, they're not going to be able to do, or look, you got 3 guys right now who have to main event WrestleMania in some way, shape, or form: Cody, Rock, Roman. All those 3 guys are going to be at Mania. All those 3 guys are going to be involved in night 2.
At least 2 of the 3 of them will be in the main event, yes.
So what do you do with night 1? Now, Mania they could do.
I have a great idea. How about the winner of the Women's Rumble main events night 1?
I'm trying to keep this in the realm of reality, and that's sort of the point. Is they've taken that away from the women, and that sucks, and we both hate it. But it's entirely possible that Bloodline's going to be main eventing night 1 and night 2 in perpetuity.
Possible. Yeah.
In which case, like, I don't know, Punk's got to change brands in order to get his hands on a night 1 or night 2 main event. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, look, there's a million things they could do if they want to go with what's hot. CM Punk is hot. You got to give him at least night 1. And if that's with Rollins, Gunther, Drew McIntyre, a fatal 4-way with all 4 of those guys, I don't know. But I'm just trying to figure out what they would do, not what I would do if it was you and I. Hey, guess what? You win the Rumble, you get the women get night 1 or night 2, depending on who's hot. Men's Rumble, you get night 2, because that's the way it should be. And you just craft the compelling stories around that stuff. You put your creative energies into that stuff.
Exactly.
Whether or not they're going to do that, probably not.
Who knows? Who knows?
But Punk is hot, and he won the we should have mentioned, he won the Hell in a Cell match against Drew McIntyre. A phenomenal goddamn match.
Really good.
Goddamn, that was such a good match. And I mean, you could tell these guys really put everything into it. Every criticism for every match that might have preceded this, I think completely by the wayside. This was the match.
The level of violence was what people have been wanting from this feud since they first got in the ring, post Rumble, of course. The first match of SummerSlam was so much more focused on story. The second one was just had the kind of silly gimmick of the strap match. And now, whatever story beat they're using for the bracelet, that's out of the way, although it was referenced tonight. And it was just about them beating the hell out of each other.
Yeah.
The show itself was bookended with a really good opening bout. The Rock coming back at the end. Everything kind of in between, a bit uneven.
I felt like there was the opener was clearly main event pay-per-view level shit. Mm-hmm. Priest versus Finn, that's a Raw main event right there.
It was a perfectly fine match, but it could have easily been a Raw main event.
Nia Jax versus Bayley on one hand suffered because it had to follow the Hell in a Cell match.
And there was moments where they didn't seem like they were on the same page too.
There were a couple big spots where they were clearly having problems communicating. Yeah. And then
Liv versus
there was
Rhea
the whole, there was the predictable cash-in element to it, which is starting to get a bit on the tired side, because every time they do something, it's like, oh, are you cashing in? Are you cashing in on me? Are you cashing in on me? Rhea Liv was totally, you get the shark cage, that's a pay-per-view match, right?
Yeah, but then the finish was weird.
The finish was weird. Yeah. So Raquel Rodriguez returned.
She's back. Yes.
She's back, as a lot of people, including us, had sort of predicted. Came back to help Liv Morgan. It was just a weird sequence of events, including an incredible stunt spot with Dom Mysterio.
I bet I saw you have a heart attack here on stream if you were watching.
So I'm clipping that shit.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put it everywhere. But this was a really inventive and very scary stunt that they pulled. So Dom was in the shark cage. They elevated him, but he wasn't over the ring. It was over the bottom of the ramp. And so he's up there. And at one point, he's leaning over because the action has, like, Rhea hit a riptide on Liv basically right under him, like right there in front of him so he can see. And she's just taunting the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And so he's so taken aback by that, He falls out of the shark cage head down. So he's about to land on his head. He gets wrapped up in a chain that has been cleverly attached to like his thigh area, so he's fine.
That was his ankle.
No, it was done up. It wasn't. He didn't. All of it. No, it was like it looked like it, but I noticed it was coming up. It was like the stunt guy thing. It was like when they do the thing. And
they made it look like it was around
so that his ankle wouldn't take the entirety of his weight.
because that could cause an injury. Yeah,
right, exactly. And so he ends up falling out like that. And again, it looked great. The visual was awesome.
Oh man, it came out of nowhere because he picked the lock on the shark cage and was kind of like peeking over the edge. The idea is scared of heights, and then he tumbles head first out of it. Because he's really leaning over the edge to look at what's going on.
Right. Yeah.
And since, you obviously didn't see any sort of thing done to attach a harness, whatever, to his leg, you just think, oh, he's taking a spill and he's going to land head first. That's your immediate reaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it was completely unexpected.
Yeah, exactly. So no, it was a really great spot. And it was just, they couldn't, I feel like the finish was just a tad overthought and under executed, I guess, because like Raquel comes out of nowhere, attacks Rhea, gives her a Tahana bomb inside the ring. The ref, it looked like at first that he didn't even notice that happening, but then he turns around and then he throws out the match. Rhea wins by DQ.
So literally when Raquel comes out to attack Rhea at first, the ref's right there. And I watched it. I could be mistaken. And I think he's kind of like, he's not fully facing towards where Raquel and Rhea is, but it's obvious he can see out of his periphery, and he readjusts his body so his back is to it entirely.
Right.
And so they try to time it so as Raquel is putting Rhea into the ring, the ref turns the opposite way so he doesn't see them and walks towards Dom to check on him. So when Raquel hits Rhea with a Tahana bomb in the ring, his back is facing them because he's checking on Dom. But there's at least 2 points where Raquel was in clear vision of the ref. And I think it was a situation where, like, we can't fudge this, really, because it's all on television. It's clear as day that the ref likely saw Raquel hit Rhea with the move. So I don't know if it's the original plan or not. Call the DQ.
I think it was the original plan. The reason why I think it was the original plan is because when she showed up originally, it was blocked in a way. The TV was blocked in a way. The camera was blocked in a way so that the shark cage was kind of like it was blocking her, and she sort of comes from behind it. But the ref is there, like he's kind of seeing all that happen.
Yeah, he sees it all. So
I
here's
think they just didn't want to give Rhea a loss. They didn't want her to have a legitimately be pinned.
I mean, commentary covered it up, but here's another way thing that leaves it kind of ambiguous in terms of it was a plan or not. Is after Raquel hits Rhea with the Tahana bomb, she brings Liv over for the cover.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
and it was only then that the ref called for the ref called for the bell.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you're onto something. Maybe you're onto something.
I think Corey said kind of awkwardly, "Oh, it was more of a like a
visual,
obviously not an official win, or something like that." Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, like Raquel, she's like, I don't know. She's like the female version of Diesel. Like, she's not going to be sneaking in and out of anything. Mm-mm. And so it was more like, oh my God, this monster is here. And she just took out Rhea. And I don't know if the idea was, oh, she's just going to get out of there really quick. And then the ref turns around, because she was the entire time, she was just sort of like very menacingly, very methodically moving around. So I suspect, but hey, there might be a report coming out from Sean or something like that that says, yeah, no, they had to, fool with the finish because it was too much.
People in chat are saying the bell rang before the pin. It was pretty bang bang, one way or the other.
Yeah. I seem to remember the bell ringing before the pin, and then she put her on there. It was like, this is. Like bang, but regardless, as you can tell from our conversation, it was awkward as shit. Yeah, and it was one of those things that was like, wait, what? What was that? Yeah. But still, like, it had big, they've built this thing so well that it had like big match feel. It felt like, this should be on here.
It did.
Priest and Finn was such a standard match. It was such a standard Raw match. And at this point, unfortunately, with Finn Balor, I'm a huge Balor fan. I think he's awesome. But they just haven't built this guy to the point where, like, this should be. It's not like a blood feud or personal feud like it was between Rhea and Liv. Mm-hmm. It should be. But it's just, this doesn't have, for my money, it just doesn't have that juice behind it, you know?
Finn cost Priest the title. It should be it should have that intensity. But yeah,
It
you're right.
should.
It really
It should. But it didn't really have that. So
No.
yeah, I don't know. Like you said, an uneven pay-per-view. I mean, WWE's been killing it with these things lately. So, you know, you do expect more. You do expect like a bigger deal.
Well, especially on SmackDown last night, we had that great tag team ladder match.
Oh,
That
boy,
felt
that
like a
was good.
pay-per-view match.
Yeah, that was good.
We're probably gonna get a really good match between Gunther and Sammy on Raw for the World Heavyweight title on Monday.
Yeah.
That's two matches that easily could have been put on the show. You could have done Priest and Finn on Raw.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that though? If you think about it, the current philosophy of like loading up, because I think Fightful talked about this.
Yeah.
They like loading up the SmackDown before and the Raw after with pay-per-view level matches. And I like that. That's fine. But you're absolutely right. Either of those matches would have been better on the I'm sorry, would have been worthy of the premium live event of the pay-per-view. Pay-per-view is so much easier to say. Of the pay-per-view. And it would have enhanced the pay-per-view, but I kind of appreciate the idea of, because I'll be honest, Finn versus Priest, even if it was like main eventing Raw, I'd been like, okay, cool. But like Gunther, Sammy, holy shit, that makes me want to tune in. You know what I mean? Like spreading the love out a little bit.
I get that too. I get it. At the same time, if I kind of feel like the match title should be defended. I'm not saying title shouldn't be defended on Raw. Title should be defended on pay-per-view, especially your world titles. They should definitely be defended on pay-per-view, in addition to whatever, occasional defense on weekly TV. There's that, and then just kind of the more interesting stories going on. And as you said, Finn Priest, it's been fine, but it hasn't been to the intensity that seemingly was required of it, given how it kicked off.
It's because it's the same thing with Judgment Day every time.
It is.
It doesn't have like that X factor of Dom, the Dom Rhea Liv dynamic. Finn and Priest just don't have that.
No.
Like, it's like, okay, you cost them the world title, but that's like, I don't know, seems like an afterthought at this point.
It does.
Because Gunther's on a really good run.
Yes.
So yeah, kind of an uneven pay-per-view. We had a bunch of people watching with us though, and I really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. If people are watching right now, whether it's live with us right now or on demand, do us a solid. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notify bell. We are in the middle of our Big Blue Predictions Challenge. The latest event incorporates both tonight's Bad Blood and, of course, the upcoming Wrestle Dream, which we'll be doing our live reactions to next Saturday as well. Right now, currently in first place, we've got a 6-way tie between Aussie Dragoon, Ewok Warrior, Granville Supreme, Justin Sider, Nasrallah, and Pacific Caleb. They're all tied right now with 35 points. But people are right on their heels. We got two people tied at 34, a handful at 33, 32, 31. So there's still plenty of time left to win. So make sure everybody who's participated today, make sure that you participate for the Wrestle Dream one. Fill out your predictions.
Yes.
So that you got a shot, because there's going to be no doubt a lot of matches there.
Yeah. I think there's already 6 announced. So.
And if you want to participate in the next Big Blue Predictions Challenge, there's 2 ways to do it. It's by getting the Friendo Club set up. You click join here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson, or you go over to patreon.com/Steve and Larson. We also have access to question threads. I'm putting up the latest one right now. Bad Blood. Do it now. There you go. Next. And then also access to our bonus episodes. We're going to get back on producing the new bonus episodes very shortly. We're going to start watching some we're going to do some watch-alongs for matches.
Yeah. You even talked about engagement, have you?
I mentioned very briefly
yes,
subscribe.
Engagement's good for the videos, good for the channel. So if you want to help, hit that thumbs up button, the like button. It helps. Also, leave comments on the YouTube, on the VOD. Thank you so much.
It does go a long way. We've got ourselves a couple new patrons over the last couple days. James Pegg, Eli Dawson, Jeff Brown, and Joshua Dodd. Thank you very much for that. I was going to take a look. We got some new members here as well.
Oh, yeah.
We just had some today as well. Boston Ray, Pizza Core, Tia Katai, Jabroni 714, Ragnar the Wretched. It's true, I'm stupid. Nightfall 78. Keon Lewis. That was the name, not.
No, I know.
I mean, I do kind of, But Keon Lewis, Roy Costin, Chad McClarkham, those are people who have either re-upped or became new channel members over the last couple days. So thank you very much. We appreciate the support. You want to move on with our Bad Blood
Let's
recap?
do it. So they did the full saga of Cody and Metro Boomin doing the stakeout in front of the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, including the kind of the prequel to that where Triple H essentially gives him his assignment.
And the assignment was simply like, we're bringing back something big, Bad Blood, and we need a good old-fashioned stakeout.
I'm still not sure what one has to do with the other.
It's absurdist comedy. I actually appreciate the shit out of this because, number one, Triple H and Cody are hilarious, and they've got amazing cinematic chemistry. And number two, it's just absurdist comedy. And that fucking tickles me to no end. Yeah, that shit was actually pretty funny. Between that and the Georgia Tech thing, man, I want to see more of the cinematic stuff.
More cinematic stuff.
I do. They're so good at it these days.
They are pretty good. So then apparently early on the show, Triple H is promising a huge announcement, which ended up being the Crown Jewel Championships. And then we see Naomi, Jade, and Bianca, our hosts for Bad Blood. Jade says, we're honored and excited to be here in Atlanta, Georgia. Bianca says, welcome everybody to Bad Blood. It's going to be amazing and history-changing night. And Naomi says, as your host, it's time to get this party started. So let's start with Hell in a Cell. So cage very slowly descends. We get Punk, we get Drew making their entrances. See Bill Goldberg sitting ringside, taking in the show. And then Hell in a Cell began. They gave it. I'll have to check on how long it was, but it was long. It basically took
31
up the
minutes
whole.
and 45 seconds.
How long?
31 minutes and 45 seconds.
Between all the stuff that began the show, it was close to 4 o'clock by the time the next match started, I think.
Oh, 31:25. Sorry, 31:25.
Because they had to clear the ring because they had to change the mat because there was so much blood on it. Wrenches. Yeah. Broken table. All sorts of stuff.
Yeah, they busted out the toolbox. Not a kendo stick. They busted out the toolbox. The ring steps were used pretty prominently. Nobody went out. They didn't at no point, but till the finish, after the match, where the door opened or nobody busted through anything. I like that, man. I think you keep it inside the cage. I don't need people falling off the cage, man. We've seen, honestly, after Mankind, they never should have revisited the concept.
What about people fighting on top, but they get down safely?
I'm sort of torn on that. It's a good visual.
It is.
It's a good visual, but my preference is just keep it inside, and just like we saw tonight, I'd have to take a look at some of the other Hell in a Cell matches. I know New Day Usos is probably like close to tops for me.
Oh, that match is so good. I don't think they left the cell either.
I don't think they did. No.
It was all really creative stuff inside the cell.
It was. This might be my number one now. It was really good.
It was pretty good.
The first one was really good too.
Anyway, so so they get busted open. I believe Punk gets thrown into the cage and he's bleeding a ton. And then Punk hits Drew with the toolbox, and that busts him open. It was, 30 seconds, if that, where Punk makes contact with that toolbox, and then they cut back to Drew, and half his face is already covered in blood.
This guy went to town on his head because it was, dude, it was not a lot of time. And they cut back, and it was because like they did Punk was the first one to blade. And it cuts back to him, and it's like a normal amount. He did a couple things, normal amount, similar to the Samoa Joe match at All In. And you're right, thank you. And then, but Drew, man, this guy he just went. I don't know what it was. He was covered. This guy seemed so excited. Too. Yeah, it was. It totally was. Yeah.
You can see it coming from back here somewhere. So, anyways, so they're both bleeding tons. Drew looks for a future shock, the move that he tore up Punk with at the Rumble, but then Punk hits the GTS. Drew kicks out of that. But then at this point, the ring steps are in the ring. Drew hits an air raid crash on the ring steps. Punk kicks out of that. Punk locks on an Anaconda Vice. Drew tries to break it up with a wrench, but then Punk grabs the wrench and starts hammering Drew in the face with it.
Yeah.
So at this point, Drew, he's on his knees and he's begging Punk to stop. No more. And so as Punk approaches, low blow. And then he goes and he gets the bag from under the ring. I'm like, yes, real glass. Please give me real glass. Cry me river. It wasn't that. It was a bunch of beads.
It was a bunch of beads. They really
Like
need
the
to,
one.
yeah.
Like the beads that were on the bracelet the Punk had. That Drew stole and then destroyed.
Holy shit. I got some breaking news here, Larson.
What?
Kevin Owens attacked the shit out of Cody Rhodes outside Cody Rhodes' bus.
Oh, wow.
He's beating the crap out of him. Oh, my God.
All right. Heel turn happens not on TV or pay-per-view. Digital exclusive.
Heel turn happen. It's this, too. It's like a fan video.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
oh, my
crazy.
gosh. Wow.
Wow. So then, after the low blow, he puts some beads in the ring, smacks Punk in the face, but misses a claymore. And then Punk gets some chain, wraps it around his knee, scoops some beads, shoves them in Drew's mouth, hits him with the GTS with the chain around his knee, covers to get the win.
Yeah, excellent match. Really good stuff.
It was really good. So Punk stumbles out of the ring at one point, collapses on the ramp, and so medical personnel goes to check on him, and he's like, "No, I don't need the oxygen mask or the little thing they put on your finger to check your pulse." He said, "I just want to call my wife," is what he says.
Yeah, yeah. Very dramatic. After that, we've got Jacqueline, Lillian Garcia, and Booker T in the audience. And then backstage, Kathy's in the VIP suite. The cool kids are partying. Jade, Bianca, Naomi. Jey Uso's there partying. A bunch of people are there. Mickey James, DDP, Arn Anderson, X-Pac. They're all there as well.
Yeah.
And then Nia Jax versus Bayley is next. And like we talked about, there was a couple moments there. Man, what have I said about Nia Jax? When you keep it simple, when you keep it to what she's good at, the matches, generally speaking, are pretty damn good. They're incredibly serviceable matches. They're actually pretty damn good. When you start trying to get a little too creative, and we saw that a couple times tonight. There was the bit where she Hurricane Ron'd Bayley as a reversal, and it was kind of confusing. It was like, okay, I appreciate the ambition. I really do, honest to God. But sometimes if you get too creative, it just doesn't translate. And it's like, okay, what was that supposed to be?
Well,
especially when commentary is confused.
Yeah.
Then you start to lose the audience too.
Exactly. There's that one spot where Nia was going for a Samoa drop, but it looks like Bayley was going for a head scissors to counter it. And they're like, oh, okay, countered. But then Bayley is the one selling and Nia is the one that gets up.
Yeah, I think Nia went for a pin on that one. Yeah.
There was just a couple instances where it just seemed like something, they just weren't exactly on the same page. And it's wrestling. It happens, you know? So at one point, Bayley ends up hitting Nia with a Samoan drop. Nia kicks out. And when she kicks out, she basically chucks Bayley over the ref. And so at this point, Bayley then hits a splash on the Nia, but Nia was kind of hovering over the ref. So Nia, with the force of Bayley's splash, lands right on top of the ref.
I thought that was a really creative.
That was really clever.
Yeah.
So then Bayley hits a stunner, Rose plant, refs out though. Tiffany Stratton runs down with the briefcase, and she starts attacking Bayley with the briefcase. So she's trying to stir the official, and at this point, I believe the ref has the briefcase in hand, and Nia does the Undertaker sit-up and sees Tiffany trying to get the briefcase back from the ref, or in her eyes, since she just got up, handing the briefcase to the ref. She thinks Tiffany's trying to cash in, so she gets in Tiffany's face. Bayley rolls up Nia, gets the 2, and the kick out. Nia ends up squashing Tiffany in the corner. Nia misses a splash. Bayley heads up top for an elbow drop, but then Tiffany distracts her by throwing the case up to Bayley. So then Nia hits a Samoan drop off the top, follows with an Annihilator for the win.
The Nia Jax as a character in ring is just, she's so good.
Yeah,
right afterwards, there was like a shot of her, and she was exhausted from everything, obviously, still selling a lot. and she's just sort of like half slumped out of the ring. It was such a wildly entertaining visual. The Undertaker sit up was hilarious.
Yeah.
She's so damn good. It's just, number one, you got to follow that Hell in a Cell match. That's impossible for almost anybody. And number two, yeah, look, I love Bayley. I think she's great. And I know she always tries to infuse a lot of creativity in her matches. And in this case, a couple things just did not. And when it's like a couple things, it kind of just mars the match to a degree. But yeah, like I said, I like when people get ambitious, but sometimes you got to dial it back a little bit, I think. Anyways, after that, they do like a thing with Xavier Woods and promo for a new Dragon Ball Z game, which was, I believe, the sponsor for the next match, Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. Before that, though, we see X-Pac, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson all in the crowd. And then Finn's music hits. He comes out. And then we got him versus Damian Priest. And like we said, I don't know, this just sort of felt like a typical Monday Night Raw, Priest versus Judgment Day type situation. They're going at it for whatever, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is. And then I think I have the time here. And then Judgment Day come down. Carlito, Jordan Devlin did a hell of a drop out of the ring.
Like that backdrop out of the ring. He got tremendous height on that, yeah.
He did. Yeah, this is a 12-minute, 45-second match.
Yeah.
And so it's like 10 minutes, and then they do the Judgment Day stuff. And Finn hits, I think Priest hit Finn with a razor's edge. Yeah. Finn had kicked out of that. And so later on, Priest ends up kicking out of a coup de grace or two. He hits a couple of them, and then Priest is able to, because of all the distractions and whatnot, he hits Finn with South of Heaven and gets the win here.
Yeah. So then after that, we get Triple H's historic announcement. So he comes to the ring, and there's a podium with Crown Jewel logo on it and a piece of velvet, obviously covering a humongous title belt. So this one, Triple H says, 30 years ago, I was living down the road on Windy Hill, 1994, terrorized in the WCW. And then he says, we're here tonight to make history. Talks about how it's their 60th straight sellout. And then he says, this year at Crown Jewel, we'll make history, the beginning of a new era, an annual event where our reigning WWE champions will face our reigning world champion, both men and women. Here's the catch. Neither title is on the line, but I promise you there'll be a definitive winner. The winner will be crowned 2024's Crown Jewel champion. So he unveils the title, and it's huge. And there's just a lot going on with it. A ton.
Yeah, here's the thing, too. What do they call Cody's title right now, Larson?
Undisputed.
Shouldn't this be the undisputed title? Because, like...
They don't got a universal title anymore. Call this the universal title.
Yeah. Yeah, you can retire that. That's okay. Because then you muddy up the lineage. No, this thing is going to be on television for Crown Jewel. Maybe.
Raw and or SmackDown after.
Right. Maybe.
That's it. It's not being defended.
No. And it's even a toss-up as to whether or not this is actually going to be an annual thing.
Yes.
Because if they find themselves in a situation where, like, I don't know, The Rock is champion this time next year, or, I don't know, even Roman Reigns is champion this time next year, and then they got him up against, I don't know who else. You know, sometimes from a storyline perspective, they're just not going to want to book this stuff. Or it's going to be, like, when Roman was champion, it was like Big E was the other champion. It was like, okay, well, Roman's going to win that, you know?
Yeah.
Or Drew that one year. They called him the B champion.
So Gunther comes out, shakes Triple H's hand, says, Atlanta, what would Bad Blood be without the World Heavyweight Champion? So Triple H is a beautiful thing. But if you remember in Saudi Arabia after my victory at King of the Ring, you raised my hand and handed me the crown. So I'm very excited for you to do the same with the Crown Jewel Championship. But first, Monday, I'm defending my title against Sami Zayn. Be honest, we both know people like Sami have the role, but they're not cut out to be the top guy. Enough of that. As a future legend myself, I want to put the spotlight on the legends today. You know, look who's here. And instantly, everybody's like, oh, Goldberg's here. Yes, let's have an interaction.
Mm-hmm.
So Gunther turns towards Goldberg and says, Bill Goldberg.
And he's so funny in this.
Oh, he is. He's trying to laugh the whole time.
Yeah.
He says, I'm happy we can meet in this fashion. I want to clarify something. You may have seen a few weeks ago that I said to Bret Hart that you were my childhood hero. That is not true. Let's be real. How can the greatest wrestler on earth be impressed with a one-trick pony like you?
That
Oh,
show was
no,
hilarious.
no disrespect. I'm just busting balls. Serious though. Your son, Gage. I really hope that you're a better father than you were a pro wrestler. So this upsets Goldberg. He jumps over the barricade, and Gunther's like, "What are you gonna do? I'll give you 3 minutes." That was funny.
Yeah.
And so security comes out, keeps them apart, and then that's when Sammy comes out, attacks Gunther. They security breaks them up, so Gunther's kind of taking up the ramp. Sammy charges towards him, and then at the end, Triple H raises Goldberg's hand at the crowd.
Even that
ring,
Triple H didn't look like he wanted to do that.
No, no.
I swear that was like, I don't know, a Nick Khan's thing or something. He was like, listen, I really would love you to do this. Like, I just don't think it's going to fit in the story. And
And
it's
Nick
like,
Khan's like, well, we're in Atlanta. This is Bill's hometown.
yeah.
It's like,
Triple
would you
H.
rather have him spear Gunther? Oh God, no.
Okay, no, it's good. Okay, well then, could you just do it, man? All right, fine. Compromise my vision. After that, we had Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. Sort of talked about this one already. Dom is so hilarious, though, because, Rhea comes out and she gets on the mic. She says, one thing I didn't mention, well, another secret. You're afraid of heights. So that's why we're going to suspend the shark cage. So then Dom, he's already in the shark cage and he just sort of sits down and he's all freaking out because it's lifting up into the air.
Yeah.
And the whole match, like when you see him, he's just absolutely hilarious. We've already talked pretty extensively about the finish. The match itself was actually really good.
Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff in there. Yeah.
The meat of the match, they've got good chemistry, these two. So we talked about the finish. Where do you see these two going from here? I mean, obviously, it's probably just going to spin off into Rhea versus Raquel to keep Rhea away from title shots, right?
Yeah, Rhea's got to have another match with Liv at some point and get that title back. I was watching the lead up to Kevin Owens attacking Cody. They were having some sort of conversation, and then Kevin Owens starts throwing haymakers.
They were having I didn't see the beginning of it. They were having a conversation first.
The very animated conversation.
Ah, okay.
It was like another iPhone or phone video, not like one actually photographed. But I'm sure this was photographed by WWE. You know what I mean? Not with a broadcast camera.
Gotcha.
It's going to be Rhea.
Coming in, we are aware of Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes.
It's going to be Rhea, Raquel, and eventually they'll go back to Rhea and Liv, and Rhea will win. Maybe at Mania, maybe before. I don't know, but it'll happen at some point.
Yeah, it'll happen. I just sort of wonder because like I said, Rhea and Raquel are probably next. I mean, you could take that all the way to, I suppose, the Rumble. In the meantime, Liv's going to get some more cheaty wins over, whoever is on, I guess, who's on Raw, like Lyra Valkyria.
Yeah.
Holy crap, I just got her name right. Whoa.
You heard that before?
That was crazy.
It's all been an act.
What?
You admitted to it.
No.
You did. You said, literally, when Pure Fusion Collective, their name was announced, and you were having trouble saying that, you're like, oh, I can give up the joke of getting Lyra Valkyria's name wrong. It happened during a show.
Boy, you sure it was me?
Who else would it be?
I don't remember any of this stuff. Anyways, who else is out there for Liv Morgan to take on for like title defenses?
Let me check the WWE roster. Specifically the Raw roster.
Because like Pure Fusion Collective, they're bad guys.
Yeah.
You got the dance people. They're good guys, but they're not going to be title contenders. Zelina Vega again. She's already had a shot.
Natalia.
Okay.
There's a lot of heels.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
She's already had a couple, at least one or two, if not two matches with Zelina, so I doubt they're going to revisit that.
Yeah.
So it's Natalia. Yeah, Natalia and Lyra Valkyria.
Well, there you go. We booked it for the next couple months. After that, we've got the main event. We got the Bloodline versus Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Cody got a bunch of band people doing his theme.
It was University of Arkansas. I thought I saw that. Or maybe a college in Arkansas, if not university.
No, I think I saw that in our chat. And then Roman also had a bunch of people with instruments. And they
like
did
a symphony.
It was a symphony. They did his thing. I don't know. I get it, big and dramatic, but I feel like with that, they have like the B-level pay-per-view stage, And so like, there's no real way to arrange this so that it looks like big.
It's the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because they were like the University of Arkansas, they have like maroon is kind of like their primary
color.
Yeah.
Latif here says, "Oh, where did it go? It disappeared." Hold on, I saw something here.
What?
Somebody said, "It disappeared." What the heck? They said, "Steve, I'm pretty sure you just said the name on accident correctly. So try to say it again." So okay. We are aware that Kevin Owens jumped Cody Rhodes. Thank you, everybody.
Breaking news. This is new to me.
They are breaking this left and right for us, man. I appreciate you, Friendos. I really
it's up
do.
there with us learning that Daniel Bryan unretired.
People rushing in to do it. Oh, there's Latif. Says, "Steve, say it again." Yeah, I just tried to do it. Anyways,
so this match, it was kind of slow to start. It's pretty typical. We had 2 hot tags.
This is the most typical Bloodline match.
It picked up. We didn't get a ref bump, though, did we? No ref bump.
Good point. Also, 2 refs today had the ref cams on, which were
utilized for all of one shot, I think.
One shot, yeah. Rhea during the Liv Rhea thing.
Yeah.
They look like Borg.
So started picking up, and then Cody gets Jacob Fatu on the announce table, and he gets to the ring post. And he signals to Roman, "You're on your own now, pal." And puts Solo through the announce table with a splash. So they're laid out for the remainder of the match. So the ref's checking on them. Solo and Roman are in the ring. They go back and forth a little bit. Solo hits a super kick. Roman responds with a Superman punch. He looks for a spear. Tonga Loa comes out to distract Roman. That allows Solo to hit a spear. Roman kicks out. So then Solo starts screaming at Roman, and then we see someone in the background with a hoodie on and like I think it was a bandana around mouth, nose area. And this individual super kicks Tonga Loa. It's him, Jim Uso. So Solo's mad. Jay screams at him. Solo turns around, eats the spear from Roman to take that L. Roman wins. And then afterwards, Jimmy gets in the ring. Roman goes up to him, gives him a huge hug. Jimmy raises his arm, and then Cody's slumped in the corner with his title looking all sad.
Well, he's hurt. He just basically won the match for Roman by taking out Jacob Fatu. Sad. He's hurt. He's selling, man. What the heck?
It's heck sad because he's being overshadowed. So he gets to his feet, and then he and Roman have a bit of a conversation. So, but anyways, Roman and Jimmy leave. Bad Bloodline jumps Cody, and Jimmy's like, "We got to go help me." Said you would have his back, and Roman's like, "No, I told him I'd do it one time.
One-time deal."
And then Jimmy convinces them. They get back in there. They clear the ring, make the save. Roman picks up Cody's belt, hands it to him. And then The Rock's music hits. And he stands out there till his music fades. People's eyebrow counts to 3. That was it. Show's over.
So going back to when Jimmy showed up, I appreciate that they didn't do the standard trope of cameraman's waiting to see guy coming through the crowd. I kind of like they did this different. Solo notices him first, and then the camera cuts from behind him, and you see him, but it's like, Solo's dirtying up the frame.
Yeah, Jimmy's
and you see him there, and he's splitting Tonga and Tongaloa. And he's just standing there, and it's like, oh, Blinken, you kind of missed the guy right here. And then it cuts back to Solo's face, and he's like, who is that guy? Then it cuts back to him, super kick. Tongaloa sold it like $1 million, of course.
Oh, yeah. What a pro.
And then he takes his, thing off, and it's very well executed. The TV direction was almost flawless on that. Apparently, Fightful posted a 5-minute Final Boss promo from after Bad Blood, according to Gorilla
Mon. Backstage cutting promos right after the show. And
just, again, to reiterate, totally aware that Kevin Owens attacked.
Oh, there's another angle of them having an argument. Oh, Kevin Owens did the finger in the chest.
Oh, no. Okay.
Cody's doing this. He reaches to pick up the title. Whoopah! Kevin Owens attacks him.
He said, "Don't dismiss me."
Man, looks like he's about to try to shove him into the luggage spot on the bus.
Does anybody have a 2-sentence breakdown of what the final boss said in this Fightful? Was this literally he was being interviewed by Sean Ross Sapp after Bad Blood? Probably not.
No, he was on Instagram. He was cutting promos.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
5-minute promo.
Let's get more of that, man. Yeah, I want to see
Probably
what he
cussing
says.
up a storm too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Fucking Cody Rhodes. Fucking Roman Reigns. Whoa, what?
All right, you want to answer some questions?
Sure, I got a couple of question threads up.
Kelmiko asks, "Was this the best Hell in a Cell ever?"
In my estimation, dude, the most iconic one clearly is the Mankind falling off the top. In terms of the best substance of a match, including like the build itself, early returns for me is probably yes.
I'll still give the edge to New Day and Usos. That was so creative. They're so creative in terms of how they put that match together. Mr. Coffee asks, "What's the next feud for Drew McIntyre?"
Drew's probably gonna go away for a little bit.
Yeah, he'll probably take some time off.
And when he comes
of course,
back,
best Hell in a Cell match is End of an Era. How did I forget that? Thank you, Die Hard Homer. That's the best Hell in a Cell match.
yeah, that's probably number one. I always forget that's Hell in a Cell. It just seemed like a really, really good match.
Yeah, that's Hell in a Cell. That's the
really
best Hell in a
good,
Cell match.
really
It's
good cage
contender
match.
for best match ever. Josh Baker says, "What match comes first, Rock Roman or Rock Cody?" Probably Rock Cody.
Rock Cody, yeah, and then they'll do Rock Roman after that. Gorilla Mon, do you think Raquel attacked Rhea early? It makes sense if
about that.
It says if it makes sense if the attack was supposed to happen while the ref is helping Dom, then Raquel sets Liv up for the pin. Yeah, no idea what happened.
I don't know. Alex Foster asks if Roman will allow Jimmy to say yeet. Or will he say still no yeet?
I wouldn't venture into that territory if I was Jimmy. You know, just sort of stay away from that. I would say this. How about this? This is what it should be. They're trying to get their team together for War Games. Jey Uso wants no part of this. He's able to tell Roman, I've got this now. Maybe him and Sammy get the tag titles too. I've got these now. I'm away from you. I'm happy. I'm good where I'm at.
Yeah.
Sammy convinces him, says, Oos, you need to go. That's your family. And Jay says, I'll go only if the honorary Oos goes with me. So they do that. And Jay has one stipulation for Roman Reigns. He says, Roman, I want your answer in one of two ways. Yeet or no yeet. And so Roman is forced to say, yeet.
Ideally, he'd say yeet, but I still don't like it.
The roof would fucking explode if Roman Reigns says yeet.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be great. That'd be great.
Nate Cruz says, what did Rock give Cody on the Raw after Mania? Wasn't this supposed to be the Rolex that Cody bought everybody he bought Rolexes for everybody, wasn't it, for the night one main event, the tag match?
Yeah, it was the watch.
His watch.
Gave him the watch back.
Josh Razowskis. Apologies, got the last name wrong. Do you think there might be a twist in the story where The Rock sides with Roman but then turns on him later?
Is there a wait, I'm sorry, what?
Josh is asking, will The Rock at first side with Roman and then turn on him, perhaps to reveal that he's behind Bad Bloodline the whole time?
Yeah, I think that's how it's going to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how closely he's going to line or like what the timeline's going to be for him being revealed as Bad Bloodline leader, but I do think that's probably the smart way to go. I think that'd be kind of awesome.
All right, that's all the questions I got here.
Right as I'm pinning this message to the chat, it says we know that KO.
Kevin Owens attacked Cody Rhodes backstage.
Let's see here. Here we go. This is a good one. Joe the Meme Maker says, out of all the legends that you saw tonight, who in their prime could have the best matchup against the current roster? Booker T is the most era-proof wrestler out of everybody we saw tonight.
Yeah.
Because that guy had the wrestling chops. He had the personality.
Yeah.
He is the most, you can put him in any era and he would be huge. So my vote would be Booker T.
Yeah, it'd be Booker T or maybe DDP.
You think DDP?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
From a presentation standpoint.
Well, he wouldn't be able to have the mullet, no.
See, that's why I'm sort of, because I'm considering everything, like literally plunk them from.
Oh, all right.
You know.
What about X-Pac?
Not a bad answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, X-Pac, yeah. Yeah, because
Oh,
X-Pac, especially once... Yeah, go ahead.
Sky M says Jacqueline.
Yeah, Jacqueline's great.
Yeah,
Jacqueline's great.
Jacqueline's great.
Jared Dwyer says, how terrible would WWE be again if Goldberg were to get another match? If, like, Gunther squashed him, just chop, 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 powerbomb, then floated on him, would that be cool?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
They engage in, like, weeks of just epic promos, and then that's the match.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. The wrestling old head says, who would you pick to help out Rhea Ripley against Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan?
It's an interesting question.
If they do a tag match. You know, it'd be cool because she was kind of from that era of NXT. Shayna Baszler.
Mm-hmm.
Rhea beat Shayna, I think, for the title, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be kind of cool. Bianca.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. That would be super cool. Anyways, that's all the questions I have over here, man.
That's all I got, too.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Cosmic says, Lyra. We appreciate
Lyra
it.
Valkyria. It's easy to say. You did it, in fact, at least twice.
I know one of the times was an accident. The other time was imaginary. I don't remember doing that
No,
at all.
I mean, you said quite clearly. I give up the bit.
That's going to do it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.
Lyra.
Lyra.
Lyra.